All right, so thank you so much for joining me today. We're here with Jennifer, who's been with Avenue 2 for some time. And I just wanted to start off by saying thank you again for taking the time to chat with us about your trip to San Juan, Puerto Rico, as well as to the Condado Vanderbilt Hotel. And before we kick off, could you just tell me a little bit about how you got into travel and how you came to Avenue 2?
Let's see, 30 years ago, or just approaching 30 years ago, I traveled to Europe with my high school class and visited about 5 different countries and started seeing what the world was about. And I never looked back, had to keep traveling the world. So tried to figure out how to do that, how to see the world and help people see the world, because I'm a people person, like to talk to people and make them happy, make their dreams come true through traveling.
So let's talk about Puerto Rico. So you went to Puerto Rico in last year, and you were there for a long weekend, or how long were you there for?
Yeah, it was 4 nights, a quick 4 nights.
Is that what you would recommend for your clients to stay there for 4 nights, whether it's pre or post cruise or even just a long weekend?
I would say if you're staying within San Juan and Old San Juan area, 3 or 4 nights is fine if you are looking for just that quick getaway, and also with pre and post cruising. If you're looking to have like a week's vacation, something I might suggest is to spend 2 or 3 nights in San Juan and then go out, if you're interested in the beach vacation or something a little bit more rural, spend 3 or 4 nights there on the beach.
So when you were in San Juan, you stayed at the Condado Vanderbilt, which is a Virtuoso hotel, if I'm not mistaken. And can you tell us a little bit about your stay and your experience there?
Well, they had us down to celebrate their 100th anniversary. So they opened in 1919. So most of the hotel is historic. And then there's 2 towers that are a little bit more modern. So clients have choices on the type of room categories that they'd like to stay in. City view, partial ocean view, full ocean view. So yeah, it has kind of the best of both worlds. As you can see in your background, Carissa, that is part of the lobby. So you have a little bit of antiques and fun and whimsy, along with, classical traditional touches. And then you have the beach view.
And which side did you stay in? Did you stay in the historic side or in the more contemporary towers?
I did not. I stayed in a Biltmore partial ocean view 1-bedroom suite, which would be ideal because you have a little bit of space and you have balconies that you can enjoy the city views and the ocean views as well.
And the hotel's location, is it central enough to explore Old Town on foot, or do you need to take taxis to get around? Is it location-wise central, shall we say?
It is very central. You would need to take a short taxi ride about 10 minutes to Old San Juan, and the airport is about 15 minutes away. So it is very centrally located. Within walking distance are a few casinos, some restaurants, some shops. So you kind of have the best of both worlds, being able to walk to some attractions and also take a taxi.
So when you were in San Juan, you did a couple of days of touring as well. Could you tell us a little bit about the touring that you experienced?
Yes. So we were fortunate enough to see Old San Juan via golf cart touring with a guide, which I highly recommend. So you kind of get the best of both worlds. You're not walking, you have a nice leisurely ride, and you hear the history and some fun facts from your guide. So there's so much history to see. Even the pina colada was supposedly invented there. So a fun stop to have a nice, cool, refreshing pina colada is nice during your tour.
And is that a half-day tour experience or a full day, or how long for Old San Juan do you kind of need to see the highlights?
Great question. Depending if you're a history buff, you could really see it in a half day or a couple hours to get a nice overview. But if you want to go into some museums and some historic sites, then I would suggest a little bit longer.
When you were at the Condado Vanderbilt, would you recommend that for couples, families, people traveling with friends? Is there anyone you wouldn't recommend it for?
I would say it's a great hotel for all types of travel. I know that's very broad, but it's very accessible, family oriented. However, you could find a honeymoon couple in the hot tub there. So there was a nice blend. Like there's bachelorette parties, bachelor parties. So a very lively hotel too. So it's fun to see a hotel in action. The service was impeccable. Everybody was being tended to on whether it be on the beach, the pool, or in the restaurants, the lobby bar. So yeah, I would say it's a great spot for any age too.
Were there any particular meals, whether it was in the hotel or in the city, that just were mind-blowing and fantastic that you would recommend?
Yes, there was actually two. One in the hotel, in their restaurant, their signature restaurant called 1919. We experienced a 10-course wine pairing meal, which was phenomenal.
Sounds divine.
So, yeah, super fun. Great, you could see families really getting together and enjoying this experience. Obviously older families, but yeah, the food was amazing, and the pairing made it just fun and interesting, all while having fun.
And can you do the wine pairing dinner even if you're not a guest at the hotel?
I believe so. Yes, you just have to make reservations for
Of course.
It's a special event that the chefs need to prepare for. The second restaurant, I would say, we got to experience in town. It was not in Old San Juan, but in town, was Santayaya, and great local spot that you definitely need reservations for. Great lively atmosphere. Again, all ages. When we were there, we saw young families, we saw couples, singles. It was just kind of the place to be. And I just had a friend that went down this March and experienced it and said it was right before. So had a great time. The food was great, the service was great, lively, fun.
And making reservations there is something that you could easily assist with a client with doing. Do they need to be made well in advance, or are we talking like 2 weeks in advance is fine? I know island time is a thing, so.
I would definitely say at least 2 weeks in advance, especially during high season.
Sure.
Over the holidays and or in January, February, March when the season is high.
While we're talking about seasons, the best time to go would be, you'd say, kind of November to March time would be considered their high season and the best time to visit San Juan?
Yes. As you know, hurricane season is typically from June 1st to November 1st. So that's something to, be aware of for sure. And yes, the holidays are very busy. And during the summer, the locals, the Puerto Ricans, they travel to the resorts as well. So the resorts can be pretty busy during the summer season, our summer season, if we were to head down there with our families during the summer too.
So if there's one thing, if you had just one night in San Juan, whether it was pre or post cruise or a stopover, one thing that is completely unmissable, what would you recommend?
Okay, since I like to be out on the water, not only looking at the water, but out on the water, I would recommend a catamaran sail to a remote island off of San Juan or Puerto Rico, and have a lunch on board and snorkel and experience the beach and maybe run into some locals That just being out on the water for me is really special and fun.
If you were to suggest combining Puerto Rico with another destination, another island, since San Juan is such a hub for the Caribbean, is there one that you would recommend combines pretty well with San Juan as well as with the Condado Vanderbilt?
Yes, well, the U.S. Virgin Islands are very close. And so I would say St. Thomas is probably the closest island. If you want to venture, out of Puerto Rico. Another one might be Antigua. So the lift from San Juan, even if you just want to spend 3 nights, is pretty easy to do. So, and close by. So those are 2 that I would possibly recommend.
Is there anything else that you'd like to add in here about the hotel or about the island experience that you had?
I will say that I ran into questions when I returned, actually before I left, was how have they recovered from the hurricane in 2017? And now here we are 3 years later. At that point, last April, they were pretty much fully operational, where we still saw in San Juan some big billboards that were still down, and some lighting along the highways had not been replaced. After speaking with the locals up in the mountains, the high mountains, we're still waiting for windows, but hopefully that's all taken care of now. But at that time in April of 2019, Puerto Rico was well and open and ready for guests, for sure.
That's great that they were, 2 years seems like an eternity, I'm sure, for them, especially still waiting for windows, but that they were able to bounce back more or less in a sensible timeline for them. But that's a great question. Thank you for bringing that one up. Perfect. So if I think that's us done. So thank you so much, Jennifer. We really appreciate you taking the time to chat with me today about your experience in San Juan, and looking forward to doing it again soon. We'll talk about one of your other amazing adventures that I can continue to live vicariously through.
Sounds like a plan, Carissa.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Have a fantastic day and enjoy your holiday weekend.
Thank you. You too. Bye.
All right. Take care.